Call roll.
Lopez. Here. Quiñones. Here. McCann.
Present.
Cartwell.
Present.
Brown.
Here.
Ricasa. Here. Rivera.
And we're going to go ahead, since there were a few of us, to have a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Ms. Quinones, can you please lead us in that?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Except in Sweetwater.
You better not laugh.
The board met in closed session preceding this meeting to discuss the following issues: student expulsions, suspended expulsions, reinstatements, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, reclassification, reassignment, resignation, transfer, conference with labor negotiator, and conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, subdivision B of Government Code Section 5495659. The board took the following action. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Mr. Cartmel, to accept the administrative hearing panel's recommendation to approve the following: expulsion of 4 students with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Ms. Lopez, to approve a 3-day suspension without pay of 1 certificated employee, ID number 12832, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Mr. McCann, to approve the 10-day suspension without pay of 1 classified employee, ID number 13139, with a vote of 3 yes, 2 no, Lopez Quinones. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Mr. McCann, to approve Resolution 4236, placement on compulsory leave of absence for 1 certificated classroom teacher, ID number 34178, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Lopez, seconded by Ms. Quinones, to approve an agreement with 1 certificated classroom teacher, ID number 24483, involving the employee's resignation effective June 30th, 2013, and employee's release of claims, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Mr. McCann, to approve the request for leave of absence without pay for 1 certificated employee, ID number 27895, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ricasa, seconded by Lopez, to approve the request for leave of absence without pay for 1 certificated employee, ID number 18259, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Ms. Lopez, to approve the request for leave of absence without pay for 1 certificated employee, ID number 27507, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Lopez, seconded by Ms. Ricasa, to approve the request for leave of absence without pay for 1 certificated employee, ID number 29427, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Ms. Lopez, to approve the request for leave of absence without pay for 1 certificated employee, ID number 21795, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Ms. Lopez, to approve the request for leave of absence without pay for 1 certificated employee, ID number 28478, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Quinones, seconded by Ms. Lopez, to approve the request for a leave of absence without pay for 1 certificated employee, ID number 27625, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Mr. McCann, to approve request for leave of absence without pay for 1 certificated employee, ID number 24047, with a vote of 0 yes, 5 no. Mr. Cartmel, Ms. Lopez, Mr. McCann, Ms. Quinones, and Ms. Ricasa. Moved by Lopez, seconded by Ms. Ricasa, to approve the request for leave of absence without pay for 1 certificated management employee, ID number 21017, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Ms. Ricasa, seconded by Mr. McCann, to approve the reassignment of 1 certificated management employee, ID number 16536, effective July 1st, 2013, with a vote of 4 yes, 1 no, Ms. Quinones. Moved by Mr. McCann, seconded by Ms. Ricasa, to approve the reassignment of 1 certificated management employee, ID number 22357, effective July 1st, 2013, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Mr. McCann, seconded by Ms. Ricasa, to approve the reassignment of 1 certificated management employee, ID number 12710, effective July 1, 2013, with a vote of 3 yes, 2 recused, Ms. Lopez, Ms. Quinones. Moved by Ricasa, seconded by Ms. Lopez, to approve the reassignment of 1 certificated management employee, ID number 22550, effective July 1st, 2013, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Recosta, seconded by Ms. Lopez, to approve the reassignment of one certificated management employee, ID number 12684, effective July 1st, 2013, with a vote of 5-0. Moved by Mr. McCann, seconded by Ms. Lopez, to approve the reassignment of one certificated management employee, ID number 16388, effective July 1st, 2013, with a vote of 5-0. Again, I apologize for the length of that, but it is the end of the year, and those are our legal announcements that we needed to make at this time regarding our closed session. At this time, we're going to move to board presentations or announcements of awards. And first of all, I'm very pleased on behalf of Mr. Calhoun and his team to have a presentation of San Diego Gas and Electric Energy Champion Award. Well, I'll let Mr. Calhoun actually do that because he did all the work and led the effort.
Mr. Cartmill, members of the board, Dr. Brand, it's my pleasure to present this again to Mr. Cartmill on behalf of San Diego Gas and Electric. We received this last Wednesday morning. This is the Energy Showcase Award, and I'm going to just over here. It is a proclamation from Maria Waldron from Assemblymember Waldron's office. She presented this to us for the Sweetwater Union High School District Energy Champion of 2013, the winner K-12 division.
Very prestigious award, and I want him just to say a few things on the microphone regarding our savings and what those carports have meant to us, the fancy carports, and some of the other efforts that we've been doing.
Thank you, Mr. Carmel. One of the things that we've done is continue to put energy efficient fixtures, lights, HVAC systems, heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems, and keep our windows and doors shut so we can save energy. And then on the supply side, we have currently 3.2 megawatts of solar PV at 6 of our high schools. 17 more schools are going to be getting another 6.8 megawatts for a total of about 10 megawatts of solar power, which means that the sun's going to power 1/3 of our peak load during the high demand seasons in the summer, and this will eventually save the district approximately $7.5 million over the next 25 years. Also, the Savings by Design program that SDG&E has implemented with our district on many of our programs, and our LEED Platinum building at Sweetwater High, which is really the cornerstone, the showcase of energy efficiency. So my hat's off to the district for its commitment, and also to my staff that really helped get this moving forward, and all the teachers and all the schools out there that keep their doors closed when the air conditionings are running. Thanks.
At this time, we'd like to welcome a transplant from the South Bay who worked here for many, many years, Ms. Laura Duzak from the San Diego County Office of Education, who also has a presentation for the board.
Good evening, President Cartmill, members of the board, Superintendent Brand, members of the public. Dr. Brand asked me to come and speak to you a little bit about ROP funds and why you don't have a 100% commitment from the county office to hand you over the funds. The reason that we have made the commitment to work with you and assist you is because the governor's budget as proposed, and of course we'll hear more about any changes that he makes tomorrow morning, the way he proposed it with the hold harmless, the way the contract works in San Diego County, the contract is with the county office. It's built into our funding model in his proposal at this point, and it would come to us. Now, while that may be true, the way his proposal also is written, that would be net of taxes, because part of the money that we use to pass out to districts to pay for ROP funds are what we call excess taxes. The way his proposal works now, we would not get to keep our excess taxes, which means we would get less from the state than we would get now. It isn't really truly a hold harmless. We're of course working with the governor and with the legislature to try to ensure that in fact we get a true hold harmless. County Superintendent Ward is committed to work with school districts to the extent that we get funds. We'll work with you, much in the same way as we did with the categorical flex when they took the ROP dollars and flexed them and allowed us to use them for any other purpose. We kept them with ROP and asked them and passed them to districts for them to use for ROP. So at this point in time, we have worked with the legislature, we've worked with the governor. The governor is aware of our concerns regarding the funding formula and the way that it would come out in his initial proposal. Hopefully, we'll address those issues tomorrow, and we'll hear more about a commitment to ROP. Are there any questions that I can answer?
I have a question, Mr. Carter.
Yes.
Ms. Lucic, how are you?
Hi.
Are you aware of any other districts that have actually cut the ROP program? Any other districts that have ROP? Because you deal with the 42 districts here in the San Diego County.
To my knowledge, most of them are working within their existing budgets and they've calculated what they have in carryover, and perhaps they have some and have budgeted at a scaled back level, because we've told districts, you have to budget based on what you can handle, because nobody really knows what's coming forward. So districts, in my understanding, some of them maybe have budgeted to reduce the program, but not cut them.
Just us.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Sir?
Yes.
Just two items. One, under AB 1200, the certification that you sent the board, you did indicate that the Sweetwater District had met all of its financial obligations, not only for this year, but the next two. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. And would you say that in general of the 42 districts, that we are in relatively good shape in comparison to others, and that we have never had a qualified or non-qualified rating by the county?
I can't say forever, but you do have a positive certification, and in my world, in AB 1200, that means the way your budget is right now, as we look at it, you're able to meet your financial commitments in the current year, plus the two subsequent. Those subsequents will turn over when the new budget comes forward. So at this point, you're what we consider positive, which would be the highest classification of the three.
And then the last question, there's an item on tonight's board agenda that has to do with the Education Protection Act, or as a result of Proposition 30 passing. And in our district, because it passed after the beginning of the year, we chose to put that in the area of salaries. And I'd just like, if you could address that with the board and what we, as well as other districts, might be doing as a result of that requirement.
The Education Protection Account is new this year. It was created as a result of Proposition 30. Proposition 30 requires that the taxes be held into this Education Protection Act, and it does have restrictions on what those funds can be used for. They cannot be used for administration, so salaries for teaching staff or school staff is appropriate. In this year, there is no new money to the district. What is actually coming into that account is actually a reclassification of state aid. So when the state gives you their money, the part that came from the taxes that were approved under the Prop 30 will go into the EPA account, and then the rest will come to you in state aid. So when you do the revenue limit calculations and calculate what a district receives, you get your property taxes and state aid. Now, because of the EPA account, you will get your property taxes, EPA, and state aid. And this year, those are the same. It's just reclassifying part of your state aid.
Mr. Carter?
Yes. Ms. Lopez and Ms. Quinones.
Is there any way, Mr. Carmel, and I don't know if there is a way, or maybe, there's been a lot of concerns regarding the ROP and adult education, and I know that Ms. Laura Lucic is very experienced in all these areas. I know you are, because I've known you for a long time. Is there any way that we can allow the public to ask questions tonight from her? Or is there another way that the public can send her emails so they can get some of the answers to their questions? I don't know, Mr. Carmen, that's the reason why I'm asking you.
Well, certainly your email is available on the San Diego County Office of Education.
Absolutely.
So any community member could ask questions regarding anything budgetary, so, yeah.
At this point, that tonight, they won't be able
I
to
believe
ask.
we have 20,
Oh, he's messing with the cards again.
yeah, we have 40 plus speakers tonight, so tonight might not be the best night, but again, it doesn't have to happen in a board meeting. The email is just as effective as a face-to-face communication if it's just information.
Okay.
Certainly, my email is on the county office website. It's Laura D, LORAD, @sdcoe.net.
Yes, Ms. Quinones.
Hi, how are you? Good. Anyway, I have a question. Okay, let's say, for example, we do get money for our ROP program. And is there any stipulation or anything that says that we can just provide classes and say these are ROP classes, or do we have to have like a program, an umbrella, that say this is the ROP program by itself? Or is that okay, or is there any way, any kind of conditions and what we have to do when it comes back to establishing the ROP program with the funding? Or is it up to our discretion as a district to do it any way we see fit?
Got several questions there. And I'm not the ROP expert, but what I tell you is there is a superintendent's council, and they set up parameters for how you could use your ROP dollars with regards to flex. I do know that you're required to send us your classes, and then you operate under an MOU with us. That MOU this year is delayed because we can't really commit to give you money until we know that we have the money. So within that MOU and the classes that you submit, we'll be asking you what you're doing, and you'll be telling us what you're doing, and it will be within the confines of Superintendent Council and the rules that they've set up.
Ms. Ricasa.
Ms. Disick, thank you for coming this evening. I really appreciate it and sharing some of that light with what you're experiencing at the County Office of Education. When you talk about the Superintendent's Council, is that a small representative body of various superintendents throughout the district, or is that the larger scope where all superintendents are involved, just like the Chief of Task Force?
No, I think it's just the participating ROP districts that have MOUs with us.
Okay. And have you as staff members been made aware yet? I know there were 2 members who sit on the San Diego County School Boards Association, along with myself and Ms. Lopez and others, who have talked about this item being brought forth to the larger scope of the superintendent's roundtable, as you will, to really talk about this and the importance of not only the ROP but the adult education funding, and really trying to come with a unified front, because school board members who also represent the elementary school districts were very much supportive of those of us who are in the high school districts in seeing that we can come together and support both efforts. And has Dr. Ward had any opportunity to make any movement with that at this point?
I have not heard of a large group of local superintendents coming together. I know that there's a large statewide movement to lobby the legislature and the governor on the importance of career tech, ROP, and adult ed. So with it, as to a meeting locally, I'm not aware of one. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, because I'm not privy to everything, but to my knowledge, we haven't had a big meeting like that.
Well, that'll give us an opportunity to follow up with Ms. Jones and Ms. Hartley, who were board members on your board, because this came up at the meeting last month, and I shared that with this body at our board meeting last month as well. But I appreciate your response. Thank you.
One more question, sorry. You just said ROP and career tech. Now, when
We can't hear you.
you're
Can't hear you.
When you're talking about ROP and career tech, are you putting them together under the same umbrella, or is it 2 different departments for you with the county?
in my mind, as this isn't my primary focus, I think of them in the realm of the same thing, Career Tech Adult Ed, ROP. The MOU has to do with ROP. The funding, the additive funding that the governor is adding or proposing to add in LCFF is considered CTE, which I believe he includes ROP within that umbrella.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Guzzi.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, we have our esteemed bond oversight chairperson to give our bond oversight report.
Esteemed, oh boy. All right. Good afternoon again. For the public who's here, we did have a joint meeting, first one in a while today, of the Bond Oversight Committee and the Board of Trustees. It lasted an hour, and I want to thank them for their time coming here early on a Monday night. A couple of quick things. I'll keep this quick because I know you got a gajillion speakers and so on, but I have about 5 items I'd like to go through. The first one is our last Bond Oversight Committee meeting. It was on last Wednesday, May 8th. And I would call it one of our shortest meetings. But what came across to the meeting, and I think this is important as relates to what our discussion earlier, is we all have our different personalities and style, but I think we all as a committee really want for the betterment of the district. And I would also say, and I'm trying to think how I would phrase this, but sometimes you have people with personalities who enjoy just tweaking people because that's what they enjoy. And there's people who really want to do better for everybody in this district. And when we speak out negatively, it's not because we enjoy that. We just feel sometimes that is what we have to do. It's our mission as Bond Oversight Committee members. And I know I can say for that, for me personally, I really, really want for the betterment of this district. And I just can't emphasize that enough. And I think as a committee we feel that as well. And they support myself as chair. But it came across, we did have concerns, as I mentioned earlier, about the bond committee selection process. Positively, and this is also, I met with Dr. Alt last week before the Bond Oversight Committee meeting. I got to tell you, what a breath of fresh air from the finance of the district. It's I can tell a BSer from a non-BSer. He's not a BSer, okay? He wants to engage the community in the process, and that is a really, really good thing. He's forthcoming with information. He explained to me better than any explanation I've had this far and gave me more confidence that I think, you never know for sure with the real estate market,